Not being Garyvee,
Yeah.
how can I sort of inspire people around me to work on their excuses?
It's funny, long before I was Garyvee, this is what I was doing for my high school friends who were doing stupid things like drugs and alcohol or driving drunk because they wanted to act cool in front of somebody. This is just about self-esteem. It's so simple, it's almost overly emotional for me. This is about self-esteem. The way I choose to do it, and you know this is how I do it, is I go directly at it. If every one of us can think of somebody we care about right now that's just not doing it right, and all you have to do is sit them down and tell them they're not doing it right, but we don't want to do that because we'd rather not short-term hurt their feelings and let them fail long-term, which is remarkably crazy if you give a fuck about somebody. So what can you do as not Garyvee? Have the actual conversation and tell your sister, your mom, your uncle, your aunt, your child, your best friend, the next time they come up with an excuse, that it's a fucking excuse. The reason I say the thing that if there's anybody that ever looked like you that made it, then there's no excuse, is because I believe it. It's really hard, you're in an argument and your friend tells you, that's great, Gary, but both my parents were alcoholics. And that really fucked me up. Right now you're on the defense. That's a good first punch by them. I'm like, cool, we don't need to use me. If anybody has ever been successful that had 2 alcoholic parents, which by the way, I know of 3, well then, now what's your excuse, Karen? We are just so interested in blaming everybody else and excuses because we don't want to take on responsibility. And somewhere a long time ago, I went completely, I think everything is my fault? Like, all of it? Like, I think it's weirdly cloudy outside right now and not nice out, my fault. Like, his scar, my fault. Like, I fucking just default into my fault. And everybody tries to do everything else the other way. And let me tell you how good life becomes when you take on responsibility. It gets real good. Some of you, and there's a lot of you that follow me, you know why I keep bringing up the last scene of 8 Mile, the Eminem movie? How many people have seen that movie? Great. The last scene, they go into the battle. He makes fun of himself the whole time because it leaves the other person with nothing. The leverage is in being accountable of everything. The leverage is exposing your weaknesses. I proudly talk about passing on Uber twice, being a DNF student. I proudly talk about my shortcomings, right? I can't wait for more bad things to happen. I mean it, because I will talk about them because what, you're so fucking perfect? Fuck you, right? So how do you do it? You have the conversation and you realize that you're doing a disservice to the people you love the most by holding your mouth shut because you're not willing to deal with the short-term conflict.
Hello, Gary.
How are you?
I'm good, thanks. You?
Great.
I have a question about passive income, and
Okay.
I want to know what kind of trends do you see for a person interested in that? I don't want to be stuck in an office 9 to 5 for the rest of my...
Well, passive income comes in 2 forms. 97% of the form is the douchiest, shittiest thing on earth, and 3% is the tried and true thing that has actually created passive income in the history of mankind. So let's find out which side you're on. How are you thinking about, when you say passive income, do you mean what do you mean?
I mean not having to work all day long. I want to be on a beach in Mexico instead of being on an office in Sweden in cold November.
Are you being serious right now?
Yes, I'm serious.
The quickest way to not be on a beach in Mexico is to think that passive income exists. It's a bad mindset. I really believe that. I think the reason so many scumbuckets are making so much money is because you're buying stupid fucking courses over and over, thinking there's some fucking magic formula for passive income. Passive income looks like this. You take money that you can afford to go to zero, and you put them into 2 places that have historically created passive income. Public markets, that you don't care if it goes up and down and you just wait to the end, or real estate. and you hope that your real estate area doesn't get crushed. Everything else almost doesn't exist.
I'm thinking more of real estate because I've been involved in it in Sweden.
Love it.
And for all the Danish people, it's pretty like the government is very restricting on creating a real estate business. It's a lot of taxes. It's really hard if you don't have the money in the beginning. And
so shouldn't you work your face off to get money, not buy dumb shit like a watch and then put it into the real estate?
Yes, I should.
Okay. Look, you know, and I think you know, and I'm happy I could see your energy. I'm so passionate about this issue. There are people that are ripping people off at the level of hundreds of millions of dollars because they're selling this dream because they made a video with pretty girls in a beach in the background and are making people spend $1,000, $2,000. It's breaking my heart. Passive income doesn't exist, and anything that starts with I don't want to work is already a problem. What you need to do is, I understand I don't want to work in an office or something I'm not passionate about. The best way to make money is to make less money than you're making now, enough to still live, because you got to live, around something that does interest you because you wake up 8 years later and something good is actually happening. So it's not everybody wants to make it the extreme of, I'm sitting in my job, I hate it, this sucks, all the way to beach in Mexico. But there's a real in between, which is why I wrote Crush It, which is at night, when you're done with your shit job that is paying for the life that you have to live right now, you don't take some of that money and buy dumb shit like 17 beers watching the World Cup. What you do instead is you work on something on the internet that costs you nothing to start, save all those dollars, build something for yourself over 7 years, and then transition from the shit job to your own business. That's passive.
What personal skill, and not a business skill, do you believe to be the most crucial for anyone to develop in order to catapult one's business to the next level?
Empathy. I can't let it go. I can't let it go. I need you to have it. I don't know how to develop it. Don't go buy bullshit courses that teach it. You know, before you do it, be thoughtful. But if you have empathy, you have everything. It's just so big. It's so big. It makes you incredible at sales. I'm a great all-time salesman because I'm empathetic. I basically can't even live my life without, I watch my mother, and she has it too, but we have different, obviously we're different. She's the centerpiece of every single person that knows her. Her empathy for everybody becomes the leverage of everybody needing her. And she took it in a way, and I got the benefit of watching it, that I think allowed me to find a little bit of a better lines in the sand where to stop and start. And I'm different in a lot of ways, businessy and competitive. We're different. But when you have empathy, you have everything. And I just, there's a lot of things I care about, right? Gratitude, it surely makes you positive if you have perspective on that. But if I had to pick one in the way you're asking, it's empathy, man. If you just, all of you care about you, not your customers, not your employees, not your vendors. And I get it. You have to take care of your family. I get it. But it's the way. If you care about them more and figure out what's left for you and what to do with it, you will have for the rest of your life. And I'm sure it's very biblical and very faith-driven and very altruistic. It doesn't make it any less true. Empathy.
You talk about your own children almost having a sort of a chip on their shoulder coming now with you in the,
Yeah, because the level of disrespect I have for them is extraordinary. No, really. I mean, when that's a natural reaction to people that are handed a lot of stuff. It can go one of two ways.
Yes. So my children are very privileged.
Yep.
How do I give them or bring them the perspective, the gratitude? They're 8, 10, and 12. Oh, sorry, 8, 12, and 14.
This is the great challenge for so many of us. So first of all, there's something that I've watched. This is something I've been passionate about long before I had them. Now it really fucking matters. And it will matter. You heard me earlier say, forget about what I'm doing. How they come out is going to be my legacy. So I care. First of all, for everybody in here, you need to wrap yourself around something most parents don't want to wrap their head around, which is you can't fake environment. The amount of rich friends I have who send their kid for 4 days to Africa to build a school and think now they're grounded is fucking ludicrous. You can't fake environment. If you are privileged, you are privileged. If you are not, you are not. The great gift and curse for all of us is we had too much or we had too little. Then your DNA and parenting and environment take over on which path you decide. What I'm doing is there's a couple things that are my religious 10 commandments, and I'm sticking to those, and everything else I'm unemotional about. So number 1, kindness. Kindness is non-debatable. If Xander and Misha ever deploy meanness on somebody else, especially based on how much money mommy and daddy made, I will physically punch them in the face. That's number 1. Kindness is not debatable. Number 2, they have to really love what they're into. I have no interest in my kids being an entrepreneur. I have no interest in my kids being a showman. I want them to be what the thing they love the most is. Number 3, there's no such thing as 4th place trophies. All these privileged kids are being protected from hurt feelings by parents today, which is why they're gonna suck. Because in real life, you come in 4th place and 8th place. So in my Upper East Side of Manhattan culture, there's a lot of 8th place trophies and everybody's fucking great at everything. I tell little kids that are 6, you suck. Their parents get mad at me, but I'm like, Ricky sucks at golf. So no make-believe. And then number 4, almost everything else does not matter. Number 5, update the list as soon as I feel like I have to, in real time, as soon as I see something that makes me have to update the list.